Hi everyone. I wanted to show you a little tip, like I said, on how you can get a good idea about what you want to carve and practice with your knife and your tools without actually picking up a piece of wood. And what I do is when I get bored, a lot of times I'm sitting watching TV and I can't really whittle in the house, or well, sometimes I do. I whittle everywhere. But the point is, I'll get a piece of clay, all right, and practice faces. And I'll use regular carving tools on it. And what's neat about clay is you can come up with a lot of expressions and actually put them onto wood later. You know, same thing with drawing. But clay, you can actually use your carving tools on, or you just get a cheaper set, and it doesn't take much to cut clay. This right here is a piece of artist clay. This is the type of clay. I'm not sure exactly what the name is, but it's a non-dry, no-dry clay. It's an artist clay. It never dries. You pick it up, you squeeze it, it gets warm from your hands after you work it a little bit, and it never hardens. Okay, so I can pick it up every night, sit there in my chair, put a little I have a little board in the house that a little tray that I put my elbows right on. I just sit there and carve it all night on my lap, playing when there's nothing on TV or whatever. You know, I just feel like practicing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just mold it up here a little bit and give you a couple ideas. We're not really going to carve anything out of it. I'm just going to give you a couple ideas because I don't know how good you're going to be able to see. But basic couple of tools: a knife, a V-tool, and a little gouge. Right, and this is the V-tool I use for clay a lot. It's just specifically for that, and I really don't care much about it except for carving clay, but it works great on clay. Alright, all I do is form a little ball, kind of the shape of a head. Alright, let me just show you how this carves. You want to be easy, but if I took my V-tool and just ran it across, right there's a hairline. Alright, I could do the same thing down here. Just run your V-tool across. Okay, you could probably practice just with your V-tool first and see how it works. Like if I want to cut this nose up, there's a line there, a line here on the bottom. This is meant to just show you how you can come up with some ideas and some faces. Alright, that's all I did was run it up. Alright, you can come over, turn it over, come down from the nose here and go straight down like that. Do the same thing on this side, go straight down, and you can see that you're starting to form a face. Alright, now there's a lot of things you can do, and I can grab my knife, I can put mouths and everything on it, you can do hair. Alright, but right here is a basic start of a face. And one thing great about clay is you can mold it. If I wanted to get a different expression, say, I could take my finger, push it in, right, and then play with that. Maybe run my V-tool across there and down. Alright, across there and down, and say, wow, alright, I see what that does. It kind of looks neat, so maybe I'll go a little further and try an angry eye look on this guy. Squish it in, you know, mold it a little bit with your fingers and come up with the type of face that you're looking for. You know, from there I might draw another line down here, another line down here. And like I said, I'm just trying to get an idea of an expression I might want to use. Alright? Doing just with a V-tool right now. I could take my knife and define that a lot more, of course. You know. I just kind of, I can even pop these out and just smash them down instead of actually removing the chips, because I'm actually out in the shop right now. But I'd smash it down with my finger, you know. All the molding with this clay is really nice. You can do it pretty much with your finger instead of actually removing the chips. Just kind of flatten them out and then start getting an idea of what you want to do for what kind of character you're looking for. You know, maybe remove a couple, stick them in the back. That's all I did on the side here, you know. But it's really good practice, all right, in how you would feel, or like over here by the eye, say if I had a little more wood, I could squish them out a little. Alright, maybe run a hairline down to the side here and then cut in. It'll give you an idea anyway of how you can start forming a face. And I could sit here and really carve a face for you, a really good one, but I'm just trying to give you a couple ideas. Run a line across here. You know, you can come straight down, pull that piece out, and you got a mouth. But the whole idea here is to play with it and come up with some characters. All right. Use your carving tools, see how they work, what kind of things you can do with the clay. A lot different than working with wood, because of course clay you can always put stuff on. You might even get into sculpting. I mean, I do a lot of sculpting. If I was going to sculpt, I would actually I'd start by pinching my clay. And, I mean, look at how quick you can form a face with your fingers, you know, and then take some carving tools to it, you know. But I'm saying, if you don't have an idea for what kind of face you want, make one out of clay first and then copy it to the wood. You can also really work with your carving tools and make, like, you push this down and get some eyebrows. Alright, but you can work with your carving tools and get an idea of what they do and actually what you would have to do, and make the mistakes on the clay before you put it into wood, you know, what way you would actually want to carve a piece. Alright, you figure, if I took it out from the inside, how would that look? If I took it out from the outside, how would that look? You know, I'm not trying to really make anything super good here. I'm just trying to give you different ideas. There's of course a mustache. I could take my V tool again and watch how quick you can really start carving stuff out with a V tool. Alright, it'll give yourself an idea of if you take too much off, or if you want to separate up on the top. Are you doing enough in between the eyebrows here? You might need to, you want to push that nose in from the side a little more, you know. And it gives you kind of an idea what you'd have to take out and what you'd have to put in. Now remember, when you're carving, once you take it off, you can't put it back. With clay, it's real easy. You just stick the piece back on. But that's why you do stuff on the clay first. You might want to come over here and take his nose out a little more, you know. And you would clean that up if it was wood with your chisel. You know. So like I said, I'm not trying to teach you any specific face here. We're really not trying to do any particular one. We're just getting ideas on, if you don't have a profile, do you have to dig down? You can practice with your knife and get up inside those eyebrows a little bit more on the inside, you know. Maybe take a piece out here and say, okay, well, I have to cut that out a little bit more, and then flatten it out with your finger and see what it looks like, you know. This isn't the best example because I'm talking and rushing. It's on my lap. But you get the general idea. I could even take this off, alright, squish it up. I didn't want a mustache. Start over. And you could even start by adding pieces. Okay. I'm trying to do this with tools in my hand, but you know, give you the idea of, well, what if I started with a nose like that? You know, and then maybe came up. Whoops, going way too fast here. And took that out. Take that out. Now you have the start of some hair, you know. Of course, you'd have to carve that all down. But you could sit there. I mean, I've made some really cool faces just sitting in my chair at night, messing around, and my wife's like, what are you doing? And I'll just play with the clay, you know. But it gives me ideas for newer carvings, especially figures. If I'm going to do figures, you know, you can make the whole figure out of clay and then put it in the wood, you know. If I don't like that up there, you know. Like I said, it's not just the medium you're used to working with, but whoops, his nose is coming off there. But it will give you an idea of what you might want to start working with, what you might want to carve something as, you know. Also will give you an idea of how to, well, if I take a hairline down, I want to smooth the cheeks down into the sides, you know. Or I might want to take under his nose here and really thin his face out, so I'll do this with my fingers. Thin those out, and then bring the cheeks up into the side, you know. Like that, and then put your mustache or whatever you're going to do from down there, you know. So, it's really fun. You can mess with a lot of stuff. You can sit there and take your time and make some wicked faces. Alright, I'm obviously having a big fail here, but you get the idea, and that's all it is getting the idea of what you want to do, maybe coming up with a character or two you might want to put into wood, okay? But do it in the clay first and see about how you would go about doing it, and then go to the wood, right? Because once you have the basic idea of what you want to carve, it's a lot easier than just picking up a piece of wood and going at it without anything in particular in mind, you know. So what I would do is pick up some clay, play with it, get good at messing around with certain faces, you know, with a mustache, without a mustache, mold it around, give them some cheeks, give them a little beard, you know. Really hard to do out here in the shop. I need to be sitting down for clay, I think. But, because I use my fingers a lot when I'm playing with the clay. Right? And just play. Right? And come up with a couple of things that you might want to put on wood. You know, you might want to stick a hat on this guy. You might want to make a hat separate and then put it on. I've done that. I've done deer and drilled holes and then put an antler in. You know, that's like a little horn on this guy. Maybe he could be a Viking. Who knows? All right, but the idea is to play, use your imagination, and